Rae Leon, style and suspicion. Chapter 5. Shattered image.
Chapter 5. Shattered image. The digital world imploded around Jackie, a silent, devastating explosion that ripped through her carefully constructed world. One moment, she was basking in the warm afterglow of a night spent with Damar, their shared laughter and whispered confessions still echoing in her memory. The next, her life was laid bare for the world to scrutinize, dissected and judged by millions of unseen eyes. Her phone, once a source of connection and communication, now vibrated incessantly, a relentless stream of notifications flooding her screen. Each ping was a hammer blow against her heart, each message a fresh, gaping wound. Nude photos taken without her consent, intimate moments stolen and broadcast across the vast expanse of the internet, transforming her private sanctuary into a public spectacle. The images were everywhere, splashed across social media platforms, plastered on gossip blogs with sensationalized headlines, even featured in invasive news reports that dissected every detail of her exposed vulnerability. Some were taken in her own bed, the familiar surroundings now irrevocably tainted with violation, the soft sheets and familiar pillows now a stark reminder of her stolen privacy. Others were from a hotel stay, a private escape with Damar now twisted into a public spectacle, every stolen kiss and whispered endearment now fodder for online commentary. But the most devastating, the ones that pierced her heart like shards of ice, were those that hinted at the night she'd spent with Damar. The angle of the shots, the specific details of the room, the way the light fell across the headboard, the unique pattern of the hotel curtains, all pointed to that shared intimacy, confirming her worst fears. A cold dread settled in Jackie's stomach, a chilling premonition that seeped deep within her bones. Could it be Damar? The thought was a venomous whisper, insidious and destructive, poisoning the fragile trust she had begun to build. The vulnerability she'd shared with him, the tentative love she'd confessed, now felt like a dangerous, reckless mistake. Scrolling through the endless stream of comments, cruel, judgmental, invasive tears streamed down her face, hot and stinging. She felt exposed, stripped bare, utterly helpless against the digital onslaught. The world she knew had shattered, leaving her adrift in a sea of shame and fear. Rae, upon seeing the photos circulating online, immediately recognized a small, almost imperceptible detail in the reflection of a mirror in one of the images, a portion of a Kappa Caine fraternity paddle. The distinctive markings, the specific wood grain and decorative elements, were instantly familiar to her. A quick online search confirmed her suspicions, connecting the paddle's design to Zayn's fraternity. A chill ran down her spine. The connection was tenuous, a single thread in a complex web, but it was there, a subtle but undeniable link. When Rae finally managed to speak to Jackie, who was understandably distraught and withdrawn, she cautiously voiced her concerns, choosing her words carefully. The possibility that Damar was involved hung heavy in the air between them, unspoken but understood. The seed of doubt had been planted, and it began to fester in Jackie's already fragile mind. She kept replaying their time together, searching for any sign, any hint that he could be capable of such a betrayal. Zayn, always looking for an advantage, noticed Jackie's vulnerability. He used her insecurities against her, quietly suggesting that Damar couldn't be trusted. Zayn presented himself as a supportive friend, a safe place for Jackie to turn. He offered insincere words of comfort and concern. He even tried to restart their old relationship, but his touch felt unwelcome, and his presence was a chilling reminder of her exposed privacy. Still recovering from the brutal attempt on his life, the pain and lingering weakness didn't stop Damar for a second. The moment the devastating news broke online, a jolt of pure adrenaline propelled him to Jackie's side. He burst into her house, his gaze sweeping the room before he found her. Then he swept her into his arms. There, nestled against his chest, she remained for hours, her body shaking with sobs, a raw guttural sound that tore at his own soul. He held her close, his thumb gently wiping the endless stream of tears, his jaw tight as he silently declared a fierce, unwavering war on whoever had dared to inflict such pain upon her. A pre-scheduled radio interview, an obligation he couldn't escape, forced him to eventually pull away. He promised Jackie he'd be back as soon as humanly possible, making her swear to keep Rae, their trusted confidant, close by. He needed Rae to be his eyes and ears, to protect his woman while he was gone. As Damar hurried out of Jackie's front door, his mind still reeling from her anguish and his own simmering rage, he nearly collided with Zayn. A jolt of unease shot through him. There was something about Zayn's smirk, a subtle shift in his eyes, that sent a bad vibe straight to Damar's gut. He wanted to stop, to question, but the clock was ticking, and the urgency of his interview, coupled with the need to formulate his next moves, forced him to rush past, the unsettling encounter with Zayn just another knot in his already tightening stomach. "You don't need him, Jackie," Zayn whispered, his voice dripping with false concern, his eyes gleaming with a dangerous light. "I'm here for you. I always have been." But even amidst her distress, Jackie instinctively pulled away from him. Something felt wrong about Zayn's sudden attention, his eagerness and overly familiar touch. She found a small spark of strength remembering how genuinely upset Damar was when he first saw the photos. He had held her, promised to protect her, and his eyes showed an honest concern that Zayn couldn't fake. She trusted Damar, or at least she desperately wanted to. Rae, always perceptive, saw right through Zayn's manipulation. She recognized his attempts to isolate Jackie and take advantage of her fragile state. Rae stepped in, her voice firm and steady. "I don't think it's Damar, Jackie," she said, looking Jackie directly in the eyes, conveying unwavering support. "He's been nothing but supportive through all of this. And honestly," she added with a small, reassuring smile, "I kind of like you two together." Zayn's forced smile faltered, a flash of anger crossing his face before he quickly hid it with a look of wounded innocence. He had misjudged the situation. Jackie wasn't falling for his act, and Rae, her loyal and sharp friend, was actively working against him, seeing past his carefully built facade. His plan was falling apart right before his eyes. A dangerous, desperate idea began to form in Zayn's mind. Rae was the problem. She was the one influencing Jackie, the one standing in his way, the one who saw through his lies. He needed to eliminate her, to silence her before she could expose him. The opportunity presented itself with the glitz and glamour of Hollywood beckoning. Rae arrived at Jackie's sprawling mansion, a whirlwind of energy and creativity, ready to work her magic for Jackie's upcoming appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live. The air buzzed with excitement as stylists, makeup artists, and assistants flitted about, transforming the mansion's swanky living room into a temporary backstage haven. Amidst the controlled chaos, Zayn, ever the picture of helpfulness, hovered nearby. He offered to check Rae's car before she departed, a seemingly innocuous gesture, a casual courtesy that masked the venomous machinations swirling in his mind. "Just a quick once-over," he'd said with a disarming smile. "Wouldn't want you having any trouble on the way back." Rae, preoccupied with the myriad details of Jackie's look, the perfect shade of lipstick, the precise drape of her designer gown, barely registered Zayn's offer. "Oh, thanks, Zayn," she murmured distractedly, already reaching for a stray hairbrush. "That's really sweet of you." Zayn, his smile widening, a predatory glint flickering in his eyes, slipped out to the driveway. Under the hood of Rae's sleek silver sedan, his demeanor transformed. The affable helper vanished, replaced by a meticulous, cold-blooded technician of destruction. He worked with a chilling precision, his movements deliberate and focused. He meticulously tampered with the brake lines, loosening bolts with a practiced twist of his wrist, severing connections with a sharp tug. He knew precisely which wires to manipulate, which connections to sever, ensuring a catastrophic brake failure at the most inopportune moment, perhaps a busy intersection, a steep hill, or any scenario that would maximize the potential for a fatal accident. He even went so far as to lightly spray a quick-drying, almost invisible adhesive on the severed ends, just enough to hold them together for a short while, to delay the inevitable until Rae was well on her way. Satisfied with his handiwork, Zayn carefully closed the hood, wiping away any fingerprints or traces of his sabotage. He re-entered the mansion, a picture of nonchalance, and tossed Rae her keys with a casual flick of his wrist. "All set," he announced, his voice smooth and even. "You're good to go." As he passed her, Rae's nose twitched. She paused, a faint, almost imperceptible scent lingering in the air. Fresh bread? It was an odd smell, especially in the midst of hairspray and perfume. She turned to look at Zane, a flicker of curiosity in her eyes. But Jackie, who was now gesturing impatiently, a look of mild panic on her face, immediately snagged her attention. "Rae, darling, the lashes. They're not quite right. And we need to decide on the jewelry like 5 minutes ago." Rae, ever the professional, instantly refocused on her task. The fleeting thought of the strange scent vanished from her mind, swept away by the whirlwind of pre-show preparations. She hurried over to Jackie, her mind already racing with solutions, completely unaware of the deadly trap that awaited her just outside the mansion gates. Zane, watching the exchange from across the room, allowed a small, almost imperceptible smirk to play on his lips. The aroma of fresh bread wasn't bread at all. It was the distinct, Swedish aroma of cyanoacrylate, the active ingredient in superglue, his own little touch, used to ensure the brake lines held just long enough. His plan was in motion, and he was confident that it was flawless. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Rae's shampoo girl, a young, eager woman named Ariana, needing to make a last-minute run to a high-end boutique to pick up a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes for Jackie's outfit, borrowed Rae's car without telling her. Ariana hummed along to the radio, navigating the busy afternoon traffic, blissfully unaware of the deadly sabotage lurking beneath the hood. As she approached a major intersection, the first light ahead turning amber, she pressed the brake pedal, and the car slowed, allowing her to pass through safely. A sigh of relief escaped her lips, but it was short-lived. As she approached the second major intersection, the light ahead turning amber, she pressed the brake pedal again. Instead of the familiar resistance, her foot met only air. Panic seized her. She pumped the pedal frantically, a desperate "no, no, no, no," tearing from her throat. The car surged forward, unresponsive, hurtling into the intersection. "Siri, call Rae," she yelled, her voice hoarse with terror. The phone rang over the car's Bluetooth system. "Hello." Rae's voice crackled through the speakers just as Ariana heard her own terrified scream. A piercing cry for help that was swallowed by the deafening crunch of metal on metal. The horrific multi-car accident that ensued was a chaotic symphony of destruction. Ariana was killed instantly, her promising young life extinguished in a flash. A tragic, innocent victim of Zane's twisted obsession. The news of the accident, the chilling evidence of sabotage, didn't just add another layer to Jackie's shattered world. It utterly crushed her beneath a suffocating blanket of grief and guilt. This wasn't just a random tragedy. It was a twisted, deliberate act, and the horrifying realization that someone would do something so monstrous specifically to hurt her, to terrorize her, was a torment beyond words. Every tear she shed for Ariana was laced with the bitter sting of knowing this horror was indirectly because of her. Rae, on the other hand, was consumed by a different, yet equally unbearable kind of anguish. The devastation of losing Ariana, a vibrant employee and friend, was amplified 1,000-fold by the sickening truth. It was her car, and the attack was meant for her. Every moment she pictured Ariana's final screams, she heard the echo of her own potential demise, a demise tragically transferred to someone innocent. A relentless, soul-deep guilt gnawed at her, fueling a burning, desperate need for justice. Her suspicions, already a cold knot in her stomach, solidified into an unshakable certainty. Zane was responsible. She wouldn't rest until she put that crazy motherfucker away. Rae's investigation into Zane's past became a relentless pursuit, a desperate race against time. She did not want to give his punk ass the opportunity to hurt someone else. She meticulously sifted through every detail, every interaction, every fleeting moment she'd witnessed, searching for any overlooked clue, any thread that might unravel the tangled web of his deceit. The attempted murders, the leaked photos, the unsettling atmosphere that clung to the mansion like a shroud. It all swirled in her mind, a chaotic puzzle she was determined to solve. She knew deep down that Zane was the key. His too eager helpfulness, his constant presence in Jackie's orbit, the way his eyes seemed to linger just a little too long, it was all starting to paint a disturbing picture. Zane is a real-life Joe from you. The breakthrough came when she remembered a casual conversation with Jackie about Zane's background. He'd mentioned working as an assistant in New York City before coming to Los Angeles. It was a small detail, easily overlooked, but Rae's instincts screamed that it was significant. She reached out to a stylist friend, Bianca, who still worked in the New York fashion scene. "Bianca," she began, her voice tight with urgency, "I need you to do some digging for me about a guy named Zane, worked as an assistant a few years back. See if you can find anything about his departure from his last job." Days turned into agonizing nights as Rae waited for Bianca's response. The silence stretched, each tick of the clock amplifying her anxiety. Finally, a message arrived. Bianca had unearthed a termination report, buried deep within company archives. The details within were chilling, confirming Rae's worst fears. According to the report, Zane's employment had ended abruptly and unceremoniously. The reason? Excessive and aggressive behavior. The report stated, using carefully chosen words to mask the darker truth. He had developed an unhealthy, obsessive fixation on his boss, a prominent figure in the New York fashion world. His behavior had become increasingly erratic, his attention unwelcome and intrusive, culminating in a series of incidents that led to his dismissal. The report hinted at stalking, veiled threats, and a general sense of unease that permeated the office whenever he was near. There was also a picture of Zane and his frat brothers. One of those frat brothers was Marcus from the bakery. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place with a sickening thud. The Kappa Kane fraternity pin, a symbol of exclusivity and power, now seemed less like a random clue and more like a badge of entitlement, a reflection of Zane's inflated sense of self-importance. His manipulative behavior, his ability to charm and deceive, his constant presence in Jackie's life, it all pointed to him. His history of obsessive tendencies, his pattern of fixating on powerful women, his dismissal from his previous job, it was a damning profile. Rae now knew with chilling certainty that Zane was the one behind the leaked photos, the one who tampered with her car, the one responsible for the tragic death of her shampoo girl, Ariana. He was no longer just a suspect. He was the prime suspect, a dangerous predator lurking in the shadows, his obsession festering, growing more toxic with each passing day. The realization sent a wave of nausea through her. How could she have been so blind? How could she have trusted someone so deeply disturbed? But there was no time for self-recrimination. Rae knew she had to act, and she had to act fast. Zane was a threat, not only to Jackie but to everyone in their circle. His obsession was a wildfire, threatening to consume them all. She had to expose him, to reveal his true nature before he could inflict any more harm. But she also knew that Zane wouldn't go down without a fight. He was cunning, manipulative, and clearly capable of extreme violence. She would need proof, irrefutable evidence that would expose him beyond any doubt. And she would need a plan, a strategy to bring him down without putting herself or anyone else in danger. She looked at the fraternity pin, lying on her desk, a small golden symbol of the darkness that had infiltrated their lives. She picked it up, clutching it tightly in her hand. She thought about her friend at the police station matching some fibers to Zane's car. "I'm coming for your bitch-ass Zane," she whispered, her voice filled with a newfound resolve. "And I won't stop until justice is served and I punch that bitch in the face." What's good, my truth seekers? Miss Jones here, and let me tell you Chapter 5. Shattered Image just blew the lid off this whole twisted saga. We're talking shocking betrayals, a tragic accident, and the truth finally coming to light. Grab your strongest brew, because this tea is scalding. Truth Serum, nudes, sabotage, and Zane's twisted game. Alright, let's dive right in. This chapter kicks off with Jackie's world absolutely imploding. Nude photos of her are everywhere, splashed across social media. Gossip blogs everywhere. We're talking intimate moments, some even from a hotel stay with Damar, now public fodder. Jackie is devastated, naturally, and a chilling question whispers in her mind. Could it be Damar? The thought alone is a venomous sting. Rae's sharp eyes and Zane's slippery moves. But hold up, my darlings. Our eagle-eyed Rae spots a crucial detail in one of the leaked photos. A reflection of a Kappa Kane fraternity paddle in a mirror. A quick search confirms the design matches Zane's fraternity. Ding ding ding. A subtle but undeniable link to Zane. While Jackie is reeling, Zane, the manipulative snake, swoops in, playing the sympathetic friend. He's whispering sweet nothings, trying to restart their connection, and subtly poisoning Jackie's mind against Damar. But Jackie, despite her heartbreak, feels something off about Zane's overly eager attention. And bless Rae's heart, she steps in firm and steady, telling Jackie she believes in Damar and that she actually likes them together. Zayn's fake smile crumbles faster than a stale cookie, revealing a flash of anger. His plan to isolate Jackie? Failing. A deadly favor and a tragic price. If you thought the Twitter beef between Nicki and SZA was trending, just wait. Here comes the real shocker. A moment that had me gasping for air. Jackie's prepping for Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Zayn, ever the helpful assistant, offers to check Rae's car before she leaves. Rae, distracted by all the glam, casually agrees. Big mistake, honey. Zayn, with chilling precision, sabotages Rae's brake lines, even using a special quick-drying adhesive to ensure they hold just long enough. Talk about sinister. As he returns Rae's keys, she catches a faint, odd scent like fresh bread. But it's not bread, it's the distinct smell of cyanoacrylate, aka super glue, his little touch to seal the deal on his deadly plot. But fate, as they say, had other plans. Rae's shampoo girl, Ariana, borrows the car for a last-minute shoe run. And tragic, Ariana hits the brakes, nothing happens, and she's caught in a horrific multi-car accident, killed instantly. My heart just broke for her. An innocent life, gone because of Zayn's twisted obsession. The past unveiled in Zayn's downfall. Devastated and consumed by guilt, Rae immediately suspects Zayn. She goes into full detective mode, digging into his past. She calls her stylist friend Bianca in NYC, asking for dirt on Zayn's previous assistant job, and Bianca delivers. She unearths a termination report. Zayn was fired for excessive and aggressive behavior, an unhealthy obsessive fixation on his female boss, stalking, veiled threats, the whole toxic package. And the cherry on top? The report also includes a picture of Zayn and his frat brothers. And guess who's in it? Marcus from the bakery. The pieces click into place like a perfectly assembled puzzle, all pointing to Zayn: the fraternity pin, his manipulative behavior, his history of obsession, the leaked photos, the car sabotage, and now Marcus being his accomplice. Rae knows it all now. Zayn is the predator, and she's ready to bring him down. She's got the fraternity pin, and she's even thinking about the police matching fibers to Zayn's car. "I'm coming for your bitch ass, Zayn," she whispers. And honestly, I'm ready to watch her do it. My truth tellers, what do you think? Is Zayn officially public enemy #1? How do you think Rae is going to take him down? And what about Marcus from the bakery? Is he truly in on all of this or just a misguided pawn? The stakes have never been higher. Hit me up with your theories.
Rae on Style and Suspicion Chapter 5. Shatter Image.